All right, so that should have worked. It says it worked.
You're
Yeah.
on YouTube.
There we are, on YouTube.
On LinkedIn.
All right, well, I guess the YouTube people will get it and the LinkedIn people won't, and we'll have to figure out what we did wrong in the future. So, hello YouTube, not hello LinkedIn, and hello Facebook. We're also live there. So, welcome. Sorry we're a bit late. Had some technical difficulties in getting all this streaming stuff connected and working. This is the live demo for TechIDManager for June 5th, 2025. This is going to be a introduction and overview of TechIDManager, things that TechIDManager can do for an MSP as far as privileged account management and account orchestration goes. We're going to do some talking first, cover some of the high-level details, some of the high-level information on types of things TechIDManager can do, some deployment examples, and then we'll actually bring up the product and show it to you, show you the 𝗁𝗂𝗁𝗁 look, and help you understand whether TechIDManager fits your needs as a managed service provider for privileged account management or not. So welcome. Glad to have you here. These are some deployment examples, some things that TechIDManager can do. At the high level, TechIDManager does account orchestration or privileged account management for managed service providers. It's a lot of fancy words that say when a technician at an MSP needs access to client infrastructure or computers or network or Entra ID tenant or local machine or a switch or router, they have to log into that thing. That means that there's an account, a username, and a password that they use to get logged in. Traditionally, this has been one username and one password shared between all the technicians. Sometimes it's been as bad as the same password used between clients or the same password used on the secretary's computer as used on the server for the admin account. This is a terrible situation as far as security goes. So what TechIDManager does, we protect that technician access into client infrastructures. We do that in a variety of ways. We can protect the shared accounts by rotating passwords, enabling and disabling those accounts, making sure that they're protected. We can also automatically create unique access for each person everywhere that they need access, assign the rights to those accounts that are specific to that person's level of access. We can do least privilege access. We can do account orchestration across a variety of places. If we look at some of these examples here, one of the more straightforward examples is this, where TechIDManager MSP here has 4 different technicians. They each have access to different places within this client. This client has a domain controller, 2 laptops that are in the field, so there's a shared admin account on each laptop that the technicians each have access to. And then for the domain accounts, each technician has their own domain admin account. Or not, if they have less access and not a full domain admin, they might have lesser access. Whatever 80 groups or permissions or rights you want to get them is what TechIDManager will provision to their account and make sure stays provisioned to their account. It's important that we, in this setup, each technician can see 3 accounts. 2 of them are shared, and we log all access to that. And one of those accounts that each technician sees is different that each technician sees. They see these accounts in what we call the TechID client. There are individual unique accounts, and there are shared accounts for different machines. So that's a real pretty straightforward example of how an MSP can use TechIDManager. There are some more complicated examples, like this one. If you want to create unique access to not only the domain, but each individual machine for each individual user, whether these are technicians, domain admins, SQL admins, whatever type of access you want to grant these technicians, you can grant them at whatever places you want. This is not an all or none type situation. There's granular control about who gets what kind of permissions where. So that if you have some level of, hold on just a second, I need to take a drink. If you have some level of technician that is God level, knows exactly what they're doing, and they should be domain admin, enterprise admin, global administrator, everywhere, you can make that. If there's one place that they have had some reason they shouldn't have access there, they haven't filled out the right paperwork, they haven't had the right training, God forbid that client doesn't like that technician for whatever reason, which is a situation I've seen, you can say they have access everywhere except this client. Then they don't have to deal with that. There are Entra ID site examples, where in this particular example, you have these seller technicians, but not everyone has access everywhere. The blue and the yellow technician are the only users that have access to this machine. They all have domain access. They all have Entra ID access. That's also not required. You can just divvy that access up. So if you have some people that are Entra ID only and some technicians that are on-prem only, you can divvy that up and only give them accounts in those places. The point is, TechIDManager does account orchestration in mass for multiple people needing access to multiple places. This is very flexible, very powerful, and it's specifically applied for managed service providers providing technician access to client infrastructures. This might sound very complicated, but it comes down to really the technician brings up the tech client and they get to see a list of credentials that a manager has granted them access to. And those credentials can be in a variety of different styles and ways, like this Jeep account. There's an account in here somewhere for Jeep organization. Let's log into our Jeep domain. Let's say I get a ticket, I need to go there. I get connected to their server. I need to get logged in here. I see this is the Jeep domain. I need to find my credential as a technician to access the Jeep infrastructure. I bring up the tech client. Somewhere in here is a Jeep credential. There could be 10 accounts, there could be 10,000 accounts in here. I can just click search. When I click this search windows button, the tech client went out on my computer. It looked at all the windows I had open and said, well, you have these windows open that are remote connection tools and you're connected to these places and you probably need these accounts to get connected. And I do. This is my Jeep domain account, martin_black.mit-admin@jeep.org. This is the account I need to use to get logged in here. I could copy and paste those credentials and username. I just want to tell it to inject both my username and my password and automatically get me logged in here. So that's what I did. I told it just inject my credentials there and get me logged in. So with 3 button clicks, as a technician, I went from login prompt to logged in with an account that was made specifically for me, has rights that are specific to me at this place. My account at a different place might have different rights because I have different permissions there. It might have the same, might have more, might have less. An account that I know is protected, enabled, all those things, and a password that rotates every 24 hours. Once a day, this password rotates so that it's always protected. We break any, the password is ever leaked, hash is ever stolen, doesn't really matter because that password's rotated every 24 hours. On average, 12 hours later, it's rotated, does significant mitigation to any type of breach. This account is also protected and made sure it exists. Our agent that's running on this DC looks at these accounts and monitors them. If anybody ever does get in some way and does something malicious, like delete all of your admin accounts, except whatever admin account they use to hack in with, TechIDManager will see that and it will rebuild all of those accounts, recreate them, reset all the rights, set new passwords, make sure they're protected and all that kind of stuff, encrypt the passwords and send it back so the technicians can get back in. Just a subtle benefit of doing proper account orchestration across all these places. So if we look here, that Jeep account, this one, is the one that we used. We can see here some icons that are different for all these different accounts because we do a bunch of different types of account orchestration. This is a domain account that is unique to me. We can also see this one up here is also a domain account, but it is shared between people. This tacoma.net/msp.admin account. The account is named msp.admin@tacoma.net. We took over that account, we rotate the password on that every 24 hours, and we log who uses that account. We can do that. We can layer on top of that also just-in-time access. So this tacoma.net account is a domain account that's unique to me, but it's also just-in-time. When I want to use this account, I just come into the tech client, I select it, and I click enable. In the next 60 seconds, that account will be enabled, created if it doesn't exist, rights provisioned to that account that are specific to me at that location, password set on that account, encrypted and sent back to me so that I'm the only one that can see it and use it. Now we can see this little green plus here means this account has been enabled faster than I can tell you what it's going to do. That account will stay enabled on that domain controller for some duration of time. By default, that's 2 hours, but you can set that to be longer or shorter. If a technician needs to, they can just click extend and extend to that access, so the account would stay enabled 2 hours past the last time they press extend. When that time frame extends and the technician has stopped the extending, you can click spam extend all you want, but it's only going to extend it from 2 hours to the last time you click it. It's not going to give them 12 hours or 20 hours, no matter how many times they click it. Once the time frame is done, the account will be disabled. All the rights will be removed from the account. The account password will be changed to something that is never told to anyone. So that account is as dead as possible, can't be used by anyone, but it's not deleted. It's not deleted for a very specific cybersecurity and traceability and accountability reasons. Next time I, as a technician, need access to 𝗂𝗵𝗿.net, if it's tomorrow, if it's later this afternoon, if it's in 10 months, I click enable again. That same UUID, that same account, which has been disabled and made sure it's stayed disabled, will be re-enabled. All the same rights or new rights that I should have are provisioned to that account. A password is set, and that password is then encrypted and sent back to me. So I get that same UUID, that same account is re-enabled between accesses. So I get continuity of tracing and logging between accesses, no matter how far apart they are. This is an important aspect of proper cybersecurity, accountability, and traceability that all the cybersecurity frameworks say that you have to have. We can also do the same thing for Azure accounts. This TechIDManager, this unique account on Azure that's also just in time. We can also do managed Azure accounts, which don't require enabling. But when you enable this, sometime in the next 60 seconds, the same thing's going to happen there. The account will be enabled, rights provision to it, password set, and it's ready to go. I can use that Entra ID account to log in anywhere that will grant me access and to do anything that I need to. An important point is that account is in the client's tenant. So I'm not limited by any of the things that GDEP says you can't do or Lighthouse says you can't do. Your account is in that tenant with rights that are specific to that technician in that tenant. Does not have to be global administrator. It could be global reader, SharePoint administrator, any of the 200 plus rights that you can grant in Azure, we can control on a technician by technician basis or on a larger grouping, cross-tenant for all your technician accesses to all of your clients. In this way, you can get very good access, limitation access control, and when somebody leaves, you can click one button and disable all of the accounts they've ever had access to. We've also added a bunch of unique features. Like this account, if I look at the password for this account, it is repost.𝗂𝗫𝗎𝗓𝗔𝗻_𝗏𝗵𝗿𝗏, whatever, --parentheses 26. And there's TOTP on this account. This account, well, so the passwords, you have choice of the type of password. You can either be word-based passwords or passphrases like this with 2 symbols and 2 numbers at the end, so you always meet the password requirements. Or you can do full random passwords. It's up to you. We support a variety of different types of passwords. We can also see the account history on that account. This is the history of all my passwords on that account. This is not so useful for Entra, but for a domain machine, this is every time that I've enabled that account, when it was enabled, when it was disabled, how long it was enabled for, and the password on that. So you've got that history for both the technician and in the management in the portal. All of these have all of that. So this server machine, if it dies and we bring up a backup, or just as part of normal backup testing, I need to get logged into that machine, but I brought the backup up from yesterday. I can look back and say, oh, without actually connecting this machine to the internet, I know that yesterday my password for this machine was anti-ly tiptoeing tummy confounded lint $ and 58. I can type that in and get logged into the machine without the machine ever being connected to the internet, without that backup of the machine ever needing to do anything except me log in and check stuff to make sure the backup process succeeded. Very important in our opinion. You can also add MFA to any of these accounts and store it with the account. Like this TechIDManager account for Entra ID has TOTP MFA with it. So though you saw my password, you still can't get in. And that MFA stays between an activation and disactivation of the just-in-time account because we don't delete the accounts. We just fully disable and remove all the rights from them and change the password. That means that you can have just-in-time Entra ID accounts with MFA that are only enabled when the technician needs with rights specific to their access. Phenomenal meeting of all the cybersecurity requirements. There's a lot of other organization, like you can sort things and organize them any kind of way that you want. All there. We also have a personal password vault that each technician can put whatever they want in, as well as shareable password vaults. So the asymmetric zero visibility encryption that we use, that means we're storing hundreds of millions of passwords from MSPs around the world, technicians access to billion-dollar wealth management funds, banks, DoD, spy networks. We can't actually read any of those credentials because they're all asymmetrically encrypted with keys that we don't have access to. I, even with God level access to all of our infrastructure, can only read the 57 credentials that are mine. I can't read anybody else's credentials. This is not I shouldn't read them, it's I physically can't read them because cryptographically, I don't have the keys to decrypt that information. It's a very important, very subtle, often overlooked fact when comparing privileged account management and password storages and vendor management. So anyway, we had partners come to us and say, hey, we love the zero visibility storage. Can you make a shareable password vault that's built on the same technology? That's what this is. You can make a vault which has its own asymmetric encryption keys, and you can put in that vault as many credentials as you want. And at the vault level, you can choose who can see the credential, who can't see it, who the key is shared with. So you can see here, this Emily's password, I know that that password exists and I can see some of the metadata about it, the description, the name of it, where it goes, but I don't have the key to decrypt that password. It's not been shared with me. This other one, like this firewall at Jeep, I can see the username and password for that if I wanted. The password for that, very secure, ASDF. So this is a very powerful feature to let you have managed and just-in-time credentials, as well as the storage for those secrets that don't change, that aren't automatically managed by us. Another thing that we have is our portal. This portal is the web management interface that managers use to determine what is happening in TechIDManager. Let me make it so you can see the whole window. There's a bunch of configuration and management stuff. So if a technician leaves, you can simply come in here and click change to disable. Disabling Jonathan here would mean that all of his accounts are disabled. All the access to TechIDManager is gone. All the actual accounts that TechIDManager made and maintained for him at the authentication sources in the domain, in onsite, all within a minute are disabled. Not just that we remove his ability to see the password, we actually go and disable the account itself. So even if he wrote the passwords down before he left, for whatever malicious reasons, he can't access that because the account itself is disabled. We have a lot of reports, and the most intriguing one here is the activity log report. This shows everything that goes on this system. We can see here that I viewed the password for the firewall. We can see that I viewed my password for the onsite account. We can see I enabled a just-in-time account. We can see I enabled the Tacoma just-in-time account, and I extended it quite a few times when I spammed that button, but still, it's not going to extend more than the 2 hours plus the last time I clicked that button. You can see a full history of everything that goes on, changes to the system, who uses what, where. Full logging, full transparency. These can be downloaded. They can be emailed to you automatically. Lots of other things that can go on with them. So that is the high-level overview of TechIDManager, some of the account orchestration we can do, some of the privileged account management that we can do for MSPs and technician access to client infrastructure. There's a lot of more flexibility that TechIDManager has. There's an entire API to every piece of TechIDManager. So if you're properly authenticated in the API, you can have access to do a variety of things. And our partners are taking advantage of that to grow TechIDManager in a very sustainable way and very powerful way to integrate into whatever their specific needs for TechIDManager are. Like automatic provisioning of duo accounts, automatic setting up of technician accounts based on their Entra ID membership, pulling down reports automatically and doing certain parsing with them. There's a lot. There are quite a few examples of this on our documentation. All of our documentation is on the website at ruffiansoftware.com. TechIDManager is the product. Ruffian Software is the parent company. TechIDManager is our first of several products. We also do consulting. So if you have any questions, put them in the doobly-doos down below. Or if you go to ruffiansoftware.com or techidmanager.com, we'd love to give you a demo that is one-on-one and answer any specific questions that you have. And other than that, that's our demo for today. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry, had some technical difficulties getting started in the beginning. And we hope to see you on a demo or